Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is May 6, 2025, and the pressure is still building from the other day. So, long story short, you are hearing about, not much talks about trade de-escalation. We have a lot of deals circling around. There has not been much progress or updates in the first 2 days to start the week. People getting a little worried ahead of Powell. You did have Trump talk about pharma and a couple other things, and then now India, UK, they're talking about other plans. So it's generally not that bad. We're still kind of holding up here, but remember, the range is wide. We are not out of the woods, but we are definitely looking for momentum and speed leading into Powell. But other than that, you had a couple of earnings. You still got some big ones this week, and it's an interesting start, and we should have a pretty interesting day. I think it might be a little bit slower until we get headlines. And remember, yesterday, headlines didn't move anything. But Chad, I hope you're ready for it. I hope your Tuesday is good. And good morning. How are you, baby? What up, Anzo? Lori, PNC, Malcolm, Matt, Tim Whitman, Laker, Jay. Good morning, baby. What up, Alyssa? Mr. Edwards, Gunner, Dirty Bird, Humble Business in the house, El Chapato, Striker, Crystal, Ion, Jamar. Good morning, baby. How you living? What up, Mr. Fahar? What up, Tyler B, Alex Enzo, doing homework, Misa, Apex, hey, Ray, Intel support. What up, Liputan? What up, Andrew Griffin? How you doing, Bubsky? Confusion, Zach, Dirty, Passion. Oh, my goodness. Good morning, baby. What about that Twitch? Liberace, El Coyote, Bonka, Vasily, 12 Jimin, S4's Payday Devil, Jamie, Blazing Bob, and Robo Handtech and Pie Guy. Good morning. It's roll call, man. It's just, did you wake up or not? They said the early worm gets the bird. They say the harvest is plenty. The workers are few. There's a lot of sayings, but good morning. That's another saying. Oh, so Chad, I hope you're ready for it. We got a decent amount of headlines here in the morning. We'll cover all of that. And here is Josh AI. And also, if you missed the watch list yesterday, we'll go over it today. There's a new rule in the chat. There's a new rule. Oh, yeah, you might. Josh AI knows about it, too. Oh, yeah, good morning. U.S. stock futures drop on signs of trade war damage. U.S. stocks were set for a weaker open after a slew of downbeat corporate statements and fears that the global trade war could be about to heat up. Contracts on the S&P 500 slid 0.9%, while those on the NASDAQ 100 dropped 1.2% as several companies in the U.S. as well as Europe signaled that tariffs will damage profits. Palantir Technologies Inc. fell as much as 8% in pre-market trading after the software firm's results failed to meet expectations, while Ford Motor Company slipped 2% after the car maker pulled its financial guidance. Tesla Inc. led declines among the Magnificent Seven tech megacaps as the EV maker's European sales plummeted further. The move suggests that a recent burst of optimism fueled by some U.S. trade concessions may already be fading. On Monday, the S&P 500 halted a 9-day rally that was its longest in about 20 years, while Ford's warning served as a reminder that damage from the tariff war will become evident over the coming months. A run of firm economic data in recent days has caused traders to dial back bets on Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. Meanwhile, the European Union plans additional tariffs on about 100 billion euros, $113 billion in U.S. goods should ongoing trade talks fail. People familiar with the matter told Bloomberg News, "For us, it's not the moment to add on risk," said Nicholas Sopel, a strategist at Quintet Private Bank. Even if there are successful negotiations between the U.S. and China, tariffs will most likely be a lot higher than they were before Trump came into power. We will need time to see how deeply these increases impact the U.S. economy, according to Sopel, who has reduced U.S. equity exposure. In Europe, Germany's DAX equity benchmark dropped as much as 2.1% after incoming German Chancellor Chancellor Friedrich Merz failed to win parliamentary backing to confirm him in his role. While Merz is expected to be eventually elected, the shock setback exposes the coalition's wafer-thin majority. The stock 600 benchmark snapped a 10-day run of gains to drop 0.4%. The dollar index was steady after 2 days of losses, while the news on Merz saw the euro pairing earlier gains to trade 0.1% higher. Investors will turn their attention next to the Fed meeting. While no change is expected this week, traders are coming to believe rates won't fall as early or as deeply as anticipated. They have pushed back the timing of the first reduction to July and see 3 cuts by year-end rather than the 4 they had priced a week ago. Recent comments from Fed Chair Powell suggest that the Fed will remain in wait-and-see mode over the near term. Michael Krautsberger, Allianz GI's chief investment office for fixed income, told clients he also sees headwinds to the U.S. dollar and maintains a short dollar footprint in portfolios. He added, elsewhere, DoorDash Inc. will buy hospitality tech company 7 Rooms Inc. for $1.2 billion, hours after confirming its plans to acquire Deliveroo PLC for $3.9 billion. DoorDash shares fell almost 4% in pre-market trading. And what the surging Taiwan dollar means for markets, the sharp volatility in Asian currencies this week shows the end of U.S. exceptionalism is causing ripple effects all over the world. While the Taiwan dollar has been in the spotlight with wild swings this week, forcing an emergency briefing by the central bank, there's also been strong gains in the Japanese yen and Malaysian ringgit. All that pressure is leading to some authorities to push back against any rapid appreciation of their currencies. Beijing signaled its determination to keep the yuan relatively stable as the People's Bank of China kept its daily reference rate steady. Over in Hong Kong, authorities ramped up efforts to defend the peg. China's economic clout means the yuan is seen as an anchor for currencies across the region, with a stable yuan reducing the chances of extreme moves elsewhere in Asia. They have no desire to allow the yuan to strengthen in anticipation of a trade deal which may not eventuate, or at the very least is still some way off, wrote Koon Go, head of Asia research at Australia and New Zealand banking group. Those efforts seem to be working for now. Mary Nicola, a Bloomberg macro strategist, writes, the latest pullback in Asian currencies underscores a familiar truth. Any sustained rally in the region's FX complex hinges on a stronger Chinese yuan. EU sees broader Trump tariffs hitting €549 billion of its goods. The European Union expects President Donald Trump's trade investigations to boost the amount of the bloc's goods facing U.S. tariffs to €549 billion, $622 billion, escalating the transatlantic conflict as the two sides are trying to negotiate a reduction in levies. The U.S. has said it may impose tariffs on imports of lumber, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, critical minerals, and trucks, which would amount to an additional €170 billion of EU goods impacted, about 97% of its total exports to the U.S. The bloc's trade chief, Maro Sefcovic, said during a speech on Tuesday, these import taxes are unjustified and cause economic harm on both sides of the Atlantic. Sefcovic told lawmakers in Strasbourg, France, this situation is not acceptable and we cannot afford to stay idle. Sefcovic is in talks with the Trump administration and is expected to share a paper with the U.S. this week to try to kickstart the negotiations. Bloomberg reported earlier, proposals from the EU are expected to include lowering trade and non-tariff barriers, boosting European investments in the U.S., cooperating on strategic challenges such as tackling unfair competition, as well as purchasing more U.S. goods in the event that negotiations fail. The EU is also preparing retaliatory measures to rebalance the trade relationship. Sefcovic said the EU has been working on additional lists of U.S. goods to hit with tariffs and has debated whether to impose export restrictions, cattle gauges, interest for potential $5 billion HK listing. Contemporary Amperex Technology Company Limited, the world's largest maker of batteries for electric vehicles, began gauging investor interest for a share sale that may fetch $5 billion and will probably be Hong Kong's biggest listing in years. KTL, as the Chinese electric vehicle battery giant is known, launched its investor education meetings on Tuesday, according to terms of the deal seen by Bloomberg. The Hong Kong trading debut will likely occur as early as this month, people familiar with the matter said, asking not to be identified because they weren't authorized to speak publicly. Top overnight news, trade tariffs. White House urges patience on tariffs amid worries about price hikes. Aides confirm Trump will continue China trade conflict. Politico, Milken conference participants say they can live with tariffs but urge end to uncertainty. Bloomberg, Trump plans pharma tariffs within 2 weeks after signing EO to promote drug manufacturing in U.S. CNBC, Reuters. Pharma industry says tariffs would hit supply chains, making medicines potentially unaffordable for some U.S. patients. Guardian, threat of a damaging trade war sparks lobbying campaign by the world's most powerful business leaders, FT. China manufacturers look to skirt U.S. tariffs by fraudulently undervaluing cargo shipped to U.S. FT. China manufacturers begin planning for substantial layoffs amid tariff headwinds. Nikkei, China's trade flows increased at the end of April, suggesting impact of U.S. tariffs has not yet affected actual shipments. Bloomberg, Canadian PM Carney to meet Trump to discuss trade deals. West J. Politico, Commerce Secretary Lutnick cast doubt on Canada trade deal before Trump-Carney meeting. Axios, EU expects Trump's trade investigations to boost the amount of the bloc's goods facing U.S. tariffs to 549 billion euros. Bloomberg, WSJ, European and Asian car manufacturers face added cost of shipping vehicles to U.S. due to new port fee policy. FT, lawmakers from Japan's ruling LDP push back against proposal to boost rice imports from U.S. Nikkei. Trump to meet with Hollywood executives as industry figures struggle to interpret his tariff announcement. Bloomberg, Axios, WSJ. Central banks, Fed faces trade-offs between navigating recession and managing stagflation risks. WSJ. Greek central bank chief Stornaris says ECB to continue cutting rates but cautiously. Bloomberg, economy. Amid heightened economic uncertainty, major U.S. employers slowing or pausing hiring. WSJ. Trump's trade wars and federal job cuts lead to U.S. housing market stagnation during what should be peak selling season. FT. Weakening economy, high rates, stock market volatility likely all drags on U.S. housing market. Washington Post, China sees strong inbound travel, rise in spending over holiday period. SCMP, Reuters, China services activity falls to 7-month low with new work slowing sharply due to trade disruptions. Bloomberg, Reuters, upward revision in Eurozone PMI, but still at 2-month low with services near stagnation. Reuters, UK business activity falls for the first time since October 2023. Reuters, corporate Palantir raised its full-year outlook after strong Q1 results, but shares fell in after-hours trading. Link, Yahoo Finance. Ford withdraws guidance, flags $1.5 billion hit to operating profits due to tariffs, warns of supply chain disruptions. Reuters, Bloomberg, Ford warns of potential disruptions from China's rare earth mineral export restrictions amid trade war. Nikkei, Mattel scraps guidance and warns of higher prices due to tariffs, plans to accelerate production shift away from China. FT, U.S. lawmaker targets NVIDIA chip smuggling to China with new legislation. Reuters, OpenAI scraps plans to change to for-profit business following Microsoft rejection. Bloomberg, WSJ. OpenAI agrees to buy AI-assisted coding tool Windsurf for $3B. Bloomberg, AI reasoning systems producing incorrect information more often, confusing companies. NY Times. ServiceNow says its Gen AI product, Now Assist, will hit $1 billion in annual contracted business by 2026, Bloomberg. Nike's president of consumer product and brand is retiring, with plans to split her role into 3 positions. WSJ, DoorDash acquiring British meal delivery firm Deliveroo for £2.9 billion to expand internationally. Reuters, FT, U.S. banks avoiding one of 2025's biggest IPOs. Chery Automobile amid geopolitical risks, competition from China rivals. Bloomberg, U.S. shale producers plan to reduce capex due to falling oil prices, raising concerns about peaking production. FT, Continental AG more than doubled its earnings in Q1 as cost-cutting measures and tire sales improved. Bloomberg, Philips cut its 2025 profit margin forecast, citing a net impact from U.S. tariffs of Euro 250-300M, despite some mitigations. Bloomberg, Cattle filed for a secondary listing on the Hong Kong exchange to capitalize on the growing electric vehicle market. Bloomberg markets. Goldman Sachs says recent equity market recovery is typical of bear market rallies, with sharp rallies and erratic swings. Bloomberg, since 2 April Liberation Day, tariff-immune stocks outperforming companies seen as more vulnerable to tariffs. Nikkei, bankers urging corporate clients to take advantage of recent market calm and tap debt markets. FT, Hong Kong authorities purchased record amount of dollars in bid to defend HKD peg. Bloomberg, spike in Taiwan dollar, latest reverberation across FX markets. Bloomberg, Reuters, Washington, White House indicates to GOP lawmakers that Trump's extensive tax package menu is not optional, rather a set menu. Axios, head of CBO estimates Treasury will exhaust cash in extraordinary accounting measures in late summer. Bloomberg, GOP disagreements on reconciliation remain, including Medicaid, SALT, spending levels. Washington Post, Hegseth orders reduction in the number of military generals and admirals by at least 20%. Axios, Defense Secretary Hegseth used Signal extensively for Pentagon business, including discussing military operations. WSJ, Geopolitics, Ukrainian forces attacked a power substation in Russia's Kursk region amid reports of a new land incursion. Reuters, Germany's Friedrich Merz misses parliamentary majority for chancellorship. Bloomberg, New York Times, EU plans to ban new Russian gas deals by year-end and phase out existing contracts by 2027. Reuters, FT, Israel may seize all of Gaza in new offensive, though may not be launched until Trump wraps up his visit to region. Reuters, Axios, Israel conducted airstrikes on Yemen's Hodeida port following a missile attack by the Houthis near Israel's airport. Reuters, India-Pakistan tension remains elevated amid army drills, missile tests. Reuters, India advances Kashmir hydro projects. Reuters, after 5 years and over 100,000 people banned Josh Answers of Stock Market Live, decided to change rule hash 4 in the chat, making it where no short-term plays are allowed in the chat. The Play Act of 2025 was well received by Chads, as Josh acknowledged they will still talk about plays and strategize, but now in a less distracting manner. BBG. Yeah, that was the news. That was global news, man. I had to throw it in there. It's global news. What do you want me to do? So yeah, no plays. No more plays anymore, unless it's long-term. I don't want to hear it. God bless America, baby. We got more. We got more. S&P is down by 0.8 Tuesday morning, near the worst pre-market levels. Comes after U.S. equities finished mostly lower in a choppy Monday session that saw the S&P snap its 9-day winning streak, the longest since 2004. Select Mag 7, energy, media, medtech among the laggards, while airplanes, airlines, pockets of retail, apparel, accessories outperform. Treasuries mostly firmer with the curve steepening. Dollar down by 0.4. Gold is up 2.3 after nearly gaining 2.5 to start the week. Bitcoin down by 0.3. WTI is up by 2.5 after losing 2% on Monday. Still very quiet from a headline perspective. Some scrutiny surrounding dampening trade de-escalation traction and Trump warning pharma tariffs coming in the next couple of weeks, while Lutnick cast doubt on meaningful progress in trade talks with Canada ahead of the Trump-Carney meeting. Follows late Saturday tariff threat on movies produced outside the U.S., which mark Trump's first foray into service tariffs. On the earnings front, Ford and Mattel, the latest high-profile names to pull four-year guide on tariff macro uncertainty. CLX, the latest consumer name to flag spillover for macro headwinds. Palantir underpinned the upbeat AI narrative, though the bar was high. Nothing really new on the Fed front until Wednesday's meeting, though easing expectations have come down and previews have highlighted that the policy complications are coming from tariffs. Quiet on the economic calendar. March trade balance more negative than expected at a record $140.5 billion. Exports little change from February, but imports higher month over month. Bessent scheduled to testify before the House Appropriation Committee. Treasury selling $42 billion in 10-year notes. Nothing on the calendar for Wednesday, but FMC statement out at 2 p.m. Fed to leave policy unchanged, and Powell expected to continue to highlight risks of Trump tariffs posing to both aspects of the Fed's dual mandate. Fed easing expectations have seen a notable reset in recent days, with the market no longer fully pricing in a rate cut by the July meeting and now pricing in 3 cuts this year, down from 4 in the prior of April based on the employment data. Q1 productivity and labor costs, initial claims, New York Fed inflation expectations out on Thursday, along with $25 billion of 30-year bonds. No data on Friday, though Fed Williams, Kugler, Goolsbee, and Waller all scheduled to speak. Earnings activity remains elevated. Palantir beat and raise, another positive for AI narrative, though the bar was high. LSCC talks slower channel normalization. Datadog mixed with large customer growth a bright spot, while billings were light. IT lowered research settlement guidance. Ford and Mattel among the latest companies to pull full-year guide on macro tariffs. CLX, organic growth missed and consumer softness. Retailer destocking. Celsius, Q1 also light. However, THS beat and talked up private brands. ENR cut full-year guide on consumer cautiousness. Marriott positive on revenue growth in face of macro uncertainty in materials. CE and SEE both reported well-received results in energy. FANG beat on lower cost and lowered full-year capex. HIMS a laggard in healthcare with elevated expectations. Watt bumped up full-year guide outside of earnings. Tesla and focus on weak European registrations, and Dash down on Deliveroo and 7 Rooms acquisition. Wow, this a lot, Habibi. Oh yeah. So yeah, some of those earnings they did talk about, again, a random set of industries, but there was all some tariff effect, whether it was uncertainty, guidance, spillover, whatever they wanted to call it. So that was an interesting set. Other than that, we do have a little bit of time. So let us get through this. You got some pre-market movers. Again, a lot of them are earnings. Nibix is up by 9.3 off earnings. FMS 6.7. Marriott up 2.7. Global Foundries up by 2.3. WMB is up by 0.6. ADM up by 0.5. AEP up by 0.5. WRD is up 15. Expand strategic partnership with Uber. AHCO is up 13 off earnings. Upwork 11 off earnings. Lemonade 8.7 off earnings. Pony up 8.5. Strategic partnership to deploy robo-taxis on Uber platform. XMTR 5.8 earnings. BTU 4.7 earnings, LCII 3.8 earnings, BFAM up 2.2 earnings, Faro up 35 to be acquired by Amitech for $44 a share, Camp up 26 off nothing, TDUP up 22.7 off earnings, DH or ATRA is up 15, regulatory update on Ebvalo, DHC is up 13.8 off earnings, SEDG up 12 off earnings, ACTU up 11.7, top line results, phase 2 trial, Telsa up 11.5, results from study of nasal foralumabab in patients with multiple sclerosis, GLDD is up 10.6 off earnings, EVgo 6.5 off earnings, gold and silver related stocks trading higher, trading lower, Palantir down by 8 on earnings, CRH down 5 earnings and 300 million buyback, TW down 4 on April trading volume. Constellation down 2.7 earnings, VST down in sympathy, Brookfield down 2.6 off earnings, FIS down 2.3 off earnings, Uber down 1.5 strategic partnership with Pony and expands with Reride. Coinbase down 1.5, Monis, Crespi, Hart downgrade, O down 0.2 off earnings, Court down 9.0 off earnings, HIMS down 7 off earnings, Genie down 7 off earnings, ENR down 7 off earnings, LSCC down 2.8 off earnings, Tempest down 2.7 for no reason, IonQ down 2.3, completes acquisition of ID Quantique. Celsius down 2.2 off earnings, Mara down 2.5, Compass downgrade, TCMD down 18 off earnings, TBCH down 12 off Wedbush downgrade, and Castell down 7.9 earnings and acquisition. Wow. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Oh, yeah. So Chatadonia, not bad. Again, still a lot of earnings, but clearly, the vibe here from the last 2 days, people are kind of saying, well, wait a minute, none of this trade stuff is developing. So it'll be an interesting one. We do got a little bit of data to watch out for, but other than that, it is going to be about Jerome Powell tomorrow. And now let's talk about every day, because every day in the cult, baby, this is what we do before we make a dollar. Before we try to chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the cult, the people here, the people not here, want to give a huge special shout out, all the active servicemen, past servicemen, anybody who has served this country, for real. Thank you for everything you have given for my freedom. And I don't know if everybody says this every day, and I really wish that we all came together and did and acknowledged it, because every single day we are all enjoying the benefits off of what other people have provided. So veterans, you guys have given so much to this nation before some of us were even born, even to this day, whether you agree with the politics or not. Y'all have served your fellow Americans, and it is one of the most honorable things out there. I think the least we could do is tell you thank you. So God bless all of you. For real, if anyone should be getting a long-term a crib, let us help you out. And if you haven't served, I really do hope that you could bring this love and appreciation to the real world every single day. We give a lot of money for a lot of things. We've run wartime deficits even without war. All we need is $6 billion to fix the homeless veteran problem. Yeah? Amen? Amen, baby. So I hope they feel me on that. But other than that, Chad, if you have given back to your communities, though, all the doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, everybody out there making things run, bro. Keep it up, and I hope you know you're appreciated. And God bless and thank every single one of you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Son of the judge! Oh, it's game time, baby. Or no, let's go. Oh, Chatadonia. Oh, you feel it? You feel good? It's Tuesday, bro. Oh, yeah. Tuesday, you're down 1% again to open up. Come on. Oh, 1% gap downs. Let's go. So, Chatadonia, how much time we got? Oh, we only got 2 minutes. Oh, yeah, we got to hurry up. So time to go to Gen Pop. Get ready. You're going to hear from Mr. Besson a lot here today, too. So I'll be saying that very shortly. But God bless you. God bless America, baby. Thank you to the veterans, as always. And let's have a good day, baby. Let's have a good day and follow the new rules. That's you. Follow the new rules. I hope they feel me. I'll see you there, baby. God bless America and that Chad. Peace. All right, let's get it.